This is the Shut Up and Hustle show, where we interview high achievers. And today, I am your hustling homie, one and only, your platform partner. And I got my platform mentor on the phone, Edward Hearn, the international Edward Hearn. Okay, I don't even know where to start with how excited I am about even having these conversations with you, because it doesn't matter if we're talking about overcoming obstacles with getting your law degree and passing the bar exam, being an attorney, being a successful pastor, being a successful speaker across the country, international public speaker. But there's so much. But overall, I just want to introduce you to the folks and tell people that you my big brother, that is just an awesome friend, that has just some amazing, extraordinary abilities when it comes to communicating on the stage and, macking, So
I don't know about all that, but
well, and on this channel too, people, they know me. They know I have fun, and they know, when we talk about hustling, we talk about macking. We know we just use those as fun terms to really just describing different ways to help people, in your own way, by creating your own lane for yourself,
Right.
So with that being said, man, like when you motivate me a lot, and I want to know what keeps you motivated these days. Before we go into like specifics, like with the books that you're working on, what's just keeping you motivated? Because this is depressing times for so many people.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because you were there. You visited me many times in the hospital. And I talked to you about my condition, where I was at. And I was really, quite frankly, at death's door, But the reality is that what motivated me, I find that living is not just breathing. It's not just getting up every day, marking days off the calendar. You have to have a reason to live, and you have to have a passion about what you're trying to do. And as I laid there in the bed, I said, man, I've done quite a bit in, at that time, 54 years, professionally and personally. But I was like, well, what's left for me to do? And what came to me during that period of time I was convalescing was that your life is not all about you. Sometimes we look at life as, I've done this, I've acquired that, I'm financially tight, this, that. But when you die, guess what? You don't take anything with you. So what's it all about? I found that I do have a mission, a ministry, and a life purpose to empower others, to show people that, I think it was Marvin Gaye to say, this ain't living. If you're living beneath your potential, you're living beneath what you were created divinely to be. If you're living without that purpose and passion, that isn't living. That isn't living at all. And so what keeps me motivated is the fact of meeting people who really, they never had anyone give them that epiphany, that awakening, that awareness, that where you are is fine. I'm not saying nobody's done anything, but what you have the potential to be is astonishing. Someone said, if we could see all the things that we're capable of doing, it would astound us. And so I come out of the hospital a different man, a wounded man, a disabled man in some respects. And I said, now I got to put it all back together. So my story, in the church, they say, my mess is my message. Now, I know what I'm going through, what I've gone through, and I want to share that, not for me, but to empower someone else, so they can be the best that they can be.
That's very powerful. So that's so much. So can you take me back even to a moment when you're talking about, because when you say you were in the hospital, I remember you being in the hospital it started with a month, 2 months. Hey, Mr. Hearns, you'll tell me, you'll be like, I'm gonna be out next month. I'll be out next week. I'll be out tomorrow. And that ended up turning to, I don't know, almost 3 years, if not longer.
I was hospitalized for over 6 months. I was almost a year in the hospital. And It was not. If I had not had the amputation of my leg, I was good as gone. You know, I was going to die, and I had to very soberly look at, okay, do I want to live, or do I want to just let death take its course? They can't, of course, force you to have an amputation of a limb. You have to sign and agree to that. And it took me about, I'd say about a month maybe to say, okay, I'll give this a try. But everything about me was changing. And I was looking at, do I really want to become what this is making me be? I was just commenting to you a moment ago about, I look at myself on screen, my face is so big. And it's like, well, when you get on medications and things, why am I gaining weight and all this? And then you're disabled, little things like getting up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom. Suddenly, you can't do that without the assistance of a wheelchair and other things. And that's the part I was trying to tell some members of my family. I'm not the person who, I want to die. Nah, that's not me. I'm a fighter to the end. But you have to have something to fight about. So what started off as I'll be out in a couple months, turn into 3, 4, 5 months, turn into 6 months that I was hospitalized, which from there, I said, okay, I finally get to go home. They said, well, no, you're well enough to leave the hospital, but you're not well enough to go home. I said, well, where do I go from here? Well, we're going to put you in an extended care facility. And they started talking, and doctors are very profound.
Yeah.
Well, Dwayne, I'm not trying to say I'm anything, but I'm a doctor too. I have a doctoral degree in jurisprudence.
Yeah.
When they got done talking to me, I said, so you talking about putting me in a nursing home? They said, well, we don't call them nursing homes anymore. Oh, I see. It's an extended care facility. I spent 3 months in a nursing home, man. And it was just like what it did to my spirit. I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, not that I was angry for being there. I met some great old people who I'm still friends with. But it was just like, maybe I should have took the exit plan and went on ahead and died, But through it all, the power of prayer, the power of self-reflection, the power of really looking at where I want to go with my life. Excuse me. I came to the conclusion, it's not about you. My life now is not about me. And I know that now more than ever before.
Yeah.
And so that from that time till now has been just about the end of September will make 5 years. It was 5 years since I went in the hospital, had the amputation, numerous operations, and now I've got a prosthetic limb. By the end of October, I'm projected to be walking, but I have not walked in 5 years. So it's amazing. It's been amazing.
Wow, there's so much I want to talk about and ask you about based on what you said. But I want to go here for a minute. One thing I remember is your decision making process and your attitude and how it impacted your decisions over that 5-year time. So, for example, when you just mentioned it took you 30 days to make the decision that you told them to give permission to have the operation, because you could have said, you know what, I'm not going to have this operation. And some people will say, you know what, I'd rather just die and then tend to live my life in a wheelchair, right? And so you had to make that decision. And then even through the process of rehabilitation, when you're going through rehab, I remember seeing you at the hospital. There were people they were complaining and did not want to work with the therapist. And they were complaining. They were angry. They weren't even participating in their own healing, And I remember you were not only were you active with the therapist, but you would take time out on your own and do your own exercises when you were going through therapy without the therapist. So how did you maintain that attitude of a champion to say, you know what, I'm going to make this decision, do what you got to do. You know what, I'm going to make the decision, I'm going to bounce back regardless, even though I'm by myself, I'm going through this alone. in this darkness, but let me keep striving. What drives you in these type of dark situations?
Well, you see, I'm not a poor loser, but I'm a winner. And if I'm going to do anything, I have a passion for excellence. I got that from my parents. My parents were uneducated. They were from the South. And they were poor. But they truly, truly believed that every one of their children were exceptional. You be the best at what you do. And I don't care who you up against. I don't care what the odds are. You're going to be number one in whatever you do. My mother was very nurturing, very, baby, just trust the Lord. He'll help you do. My father was a drill sergeant. My father was the kind of person, boy, I get done, you're going to eat thunder and lightning, okay? When you get done with I get done with you. So that upbringing in me said, if I'm going to live, then I'm going to try to get back to complete wholeness. I don't look at things and say, this is what I cannot do now. I look at them and say, what is it going to take me to do that? And so when you came over to the Schwab Rehabilitative Hospital, okay, I go from one Providence Hospital to the South Shore Nursing Care Facility. Then I spend about 6 weeks, a little bit over a month and a half in the Schwab Rehabilitative Hospital. That's where my mind started to change a bit, because I have a below-the-knee amputation of my left leg. But I saw people who had upper thigh amputation, meaning they lost the kneecap. You don't thank God for your knee until you lose it. They had both legs had been amputated. They had both legs and an arm. Oh, man. It's like the old Indian proverb that says, I cried because I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. Suddenly, when I saw the man with no feet, I was like, well, at least I do have my feet. Well, I began to see how blessed I was, and I began to become more thankful for that. And so when they would tell me, they had a track, you go around the gymnasium, I want you to do a lap in your wheelchair, pushing your wheelchair, see how quickly you can do it. I never did one lap. I always did 3, maybe 4. They took me to a stairwell. They said, we're going to show you how to walk up the stairs. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk up the stairs with one leg? Come on, man. They say, our job is to teach you how to recalibrate your mind. And they showed me how to hold my hand on both sides and to hop each stair. And then they told me, I don't want you to land hard. I want you to land like a ninja, very softly. Keep your upper body strong. Keep your back straight. And once I learned that technique, I didn't do one flight. I did 3, 4 flights. They said, Mr. Hearn, you're an overachiever. I said, I don't like coming in second. I like coming in first. Whenever I do something, I want to be the best. And so that's where I began to get hope. And what each therapist, each person that was working with me, occupational therapy, a specialist and other therapists, they kept putting in my mind, you have lost a limb. And so no, you are not like everybody who has all their limbs. But you have not lost your mind, your consciousness, and your drive. If you have that, now you must make yourself not equal to them, but superior in many ways. And when I see people, I saw people in the gym who were lifting weights and doing things. I said, wow, but it's a level of consciousness. Now, The metaphor, of course, is that that's where it is when you're an African American. That's where it is when you're poor. That's where it is when you're underprivileged. You gotta say, I don't have the things that maybe other people have, but it's within. When you conquer what's within, you can handle anything without. I found that out.
That's so powerful. So let me go back to the beginning of what you were saying about how you being raised by your parents, right? Nature versus nurture. So you were nurtured in a way that had a huge impact on how you still behave today. So much to the point where you have a book, Major Wisdom. Now, however, you also have brothers and sisters. How many of y'all is it? 11 that you've had total? Is you had 11 brothers and sisters?
Yeah, there's 11 of us. There's 9 of us living, and there were 11 children in the family. Yeah.
So of the 11 children, though, all you all who had the same upbringing were in the same environment. Everyone didn't adapt and adjust the same, to that same. So how much of it do you think is naturally based on what you have in you and versus the impact of your environment that you have, and versus how that also helps other people too, because I'm pretty sure you got certain brothers and sisters that, look at it. I know all of you guys achieved a certain high levels of success, but but you being an international public speaking champion and, decided to be a pastor of a church, how much was that based on things that were just naturally in you and your drive?
I think that I'm the person who always looks around and there's something in me that I always see that people can improve themselves, and I always look at what makes that person think the way they do or act the way they do.
Yeah.
But I think that the tragedy of our people, African American people.
I'm listening. Keep going.
That family has been destroyed. We don't have those mothers who are actually raising the children, the fathers that are teaching and guiding, especially the boys. So I think that it was more so something that was placed in me from the time I was born. My parents made no bones about it. You are poor. You do understand that. You're poor. My father, at his highest income level, made $17,000 a year. He had no education. He couldn't read or write, but he was a hard worker. So it was clear, you're poor. You're not going to be able to do what other children do. But the motivation was, if you get up and get you an education, they always said, if you get God in your heart and some sense in your head, you can go and do anything you want to do in this life. And so I had that. You are, as my parents died, calling us, you're a Negro. Son, you're a Negro. Now add what I just told you to what I just got done telling you. You're poor and you're a Negro. Now tell me how far in life you think you're going to go if you don't make yourself intelligent, profound, analytical, whatever. They never use that kind of terminology. But a poor Negro got it hard, son. He's got it real hard. But they were just like the people at the rehabilitation center. You got 2 strikes against you, Dad would say, and you're in the batter's box. So that means you only got 1 strike left. Now here's how you're going to handle that. You're going to focus on that pitcher. You're going to look him in the eye. You're going to watch that ball when it's released. And when it comes into the zone of where you're going to swing, you're not trying to get a single, a double, a triple. You're going to knock that sucker out the park. And then you're going to run around the bases like a proud Negro, not jumping and shouting like you. You're going to run and say, I told you, I'm just capable as everybody else. So I grew up in a family that taught we hit home runs. We don't get on base. We knock the cover off the ball. And once I had that for 17 years till I left to go to college. Once you get in college, it's like, what's the dean's list? Oh, that's where all the excellent students get. I was on the dean's list. I got in law school. They had moot court competition. My grades were not as strong in law school, but my argumentative skills, my persuasive skills, and my writing skills were clearly superior to almost most of the people there. When I got in the practice of law, I had some cases that I had lawyers say, man, you better cop a plea on that. I said, no, we're gonna take this all the way to trial. And I won some wonderful cases. But I found myself after a while saying, everybody doesn't think this way.
Right.
Some of my clients even they wanted to commit crimes and then have you get them off. That's what you do, don't you? I'm like, no, I didn't go. I'm not that kind of lawyer. So I went through a metamorphosis where what I thought I loved, I found out, Lionel Richie said, one of the Commodore songs, all the things I thought had so much value, when I got them, I found out, guess what? They didn't really have any value at all. And I was like, where do I go from here? So I just believe that I think that we grow so much when we're young and we say, this is what I'm going to be.
Yeah.
If it's an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, whatever you want to be. But then when you achieve that goal, you stop You say, okay, I've done it. And then you get into the mundane of breathing instead of living. You're not living, you're just breathing. You make a couple $100,000 a year. Ooh, do you know that almost 80% of billionaires in the world never graduated from college? And so come on. It isn't that you got a degree or a title. It's what do you want to do with your life? Where are you going?
Right.
Why did you stop striving? Well, without parents there to say, come on, you can do it, without the physical therapist. And I'm in physical therapy now because I'm going to be up walking with a prosthesis in about a month. But I notice what the physical therapist does every time I go, she pushes me. She says, you can do this.
Yeah.
Come on now. I'm tired. Okay, take a break. You get tired, rest, but don't quit. Don't quit. Sit down, catch your breath. Now, come on, let's get back on. And I think I might have shared with you once before in a private conversation we were talking. What if every individual had someone who pushed them, who encouraged them, who says, I know you can do it. I don't think you can do it. I know you. I'm telling you, Dwayne, that's what God has placed on my heart to say to whomever will listen. You have talent, skills, and abilities that you've not even begun to touch. What if you did? What if you tried? You have the power to change your life. But most people don't understand that. They think this is the life I got. It's what I'm stuck with. You know?
Yeah. That's and so because of that, so well first let me say this. That whole piece about people not they reach a goal and man, that's so real, and then they give up and they stop. And that is so real. A lot of times I think we are like programmed to chase these carrots, like to climb a mountain that once you get to the top, you realize you didn't climb the wrong mountain, you know? And,
Right.
And I feel like that's worse than, you know, I feel like that's worse than sometimes not even trying it at all, because it's like when you don't try it, at least you got the dream, you know what I mean? But when you do it and you got it, it's like it becomes a nightmare, you know, and you be like, this is horrible, you know, you mad and stuff. Because I went through so much of that, and I learned that also in the Toastmasters contest. Because when I first joined Toastmasters, you know, and you notice you being my mentor, my whole goal was I wanted to win a Toastmasters contest, because I knew if I did that, my whole life would change and I would get money that would come, you know, it would just start coming to me. And man, I didn't win, but I went far. So I won enough to the point where, you know, winning the district, that was a major thing. And by the time after my first year, I made it to the district. Second year, I won the district. And then I started to realize, like, you know, this thing isn't what I thought it was, you know, you know, because I wasn't making money, you know, I wasn't making money, you know, I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And that's when I realized I had this epiphany. The third year being a Toastmaster in the contest, I made it to like the area level, the second level. And I lost. I didn't place first, second, or third. And Ed, let me tell you something that was significant about that. This was the best speech I had given in my life. Okay? And me personally, I had, look, the crowd was so into it. I mean, I had the crowd eating out of the palm of my hand. I could hear all of the laughter. I could hear everything. But I didn't place first, second, nor third. And I was very depressed. But then, you know what happened like about a week later is I felt empowered, because I realized I got excited about the rejection. I was excited. It wasn't about them saying I was good or not. I was excited that I had the confidence to go on stage and give it everything I had, regardless of what they had to say about it.
And that's where it's at. See, and I think that when you're in grade school, high school, whatever, you have teachers, counselors, people who are motivating you.
Right.
You have people who every semester they're grading you and they're evaluating. So your life is on a this is how I'm doing kind of paradigm. But once you get out of college, once you get out of grad school, you get married. You don't have people who say, now you've been out of graduate school or college, whatever, 5 years. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You fall into I have a job, I get paid, I pay my bills, I'm doing okay. I have a child, I have a spouse. You fall into a slump and you live the rest of your life like that.
Yeah.
Unless somebody says, no, you can do more than that. You can make this happen. So you got to have that, you and I talk about, well, everybody needs motivation, but motivation is old. Well, I understand those who say that, but I don't quite agree. You always need someone who is like my physical therapist. I tell her all the time, I have a desire to walk like Barack Obama. That's still my president. And when I see him get off a plane now, he be pimping like the homies on the south side. That's where I want to walk. But right now, I'm walking like Frankenstein. Okay, I got a leg on me, and I'm like, now, here's what she said. Yes, you're walking like Frankenstein. But you know what? Each day, each step, you're getting better. Come on, straighten up your back now. Come on, suck in that tummy.
Yeah.
Each day. And you know what? Each time I go, Dwayne, it's like I am walking better. I am. Now, take that over to life. How many people? See, you didn't win the world championship of public speaking, but you made it to the district level. Do you know how many people have been competing for years and never made it to the district championship?
Yeah.
They never made it. And Lord knows they never won it. From there, you go to the semifinals. And the only other step from that is right. So it's not how far you got, but it's look where you started and how far you achieved in life. No, I may not make $50 million. What if I made $5 to $10 million? See, a lot of people fail to recognize how far you've come.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm trying to say. I believe that African American people many times are challenged by, we ain't this, we ain't got that, we ain't got that. Look how far we've come. It hurts me when I hear African Americans say, oh, Barack Obama didn't do nothing for black people, and blah, blah, blah. Negativity is contagious.
Yeah.
I'm like the lady in the Wiz. Don't nobody bring me no bed. Do you know what it's like for an African American to become the president? Now, is there more that he could have done? Yes. Do I agree with everything he did? No. But I'm going to uplift my brother. I'm going to say, I'm grateful for everything you've done. And I'm looking forward to the next African American, looking forward to the next woman, looking for the next disenfranchised or marginalized group of people to achieve that level and achieve for all of us. That's what makes America great, in my opinion. That's what makes America great. But that's what also makes a human being great. When you recognize that your potential to be the best you can be. There are some people who have never made a six-figure income. They've never made $100,000 in their life. What if that person optimized their skill sets and abilities and just made $150,000? But they did that $150,000 not on their job. No, you got to have streams of income. They might keep working their job. Maybe they make $40,000 a year. What if they made $150,000 doing that which they love to do? I'm not a wealthy speaker, no, but baby, hold on. Just like I ain't pimping like Barack yet,
Yeah.
I'm going to be pimping like Barack. And when it comes to earning and doing, it's not about the money. It's about I get paid to do what I love to do. By the way, Dwayne, the $25,000 you offered me for this video, just keep it. I'm not even going to say it. I'm doing this totally free of charge. Thank you for the offer, but I believe that you and I are in the same boat. We're going to help some people realize what's in you. What's in you. The rest of your life can be the best of. Most people don't believe that, Dwayne.
Yeah.
No, they don't believe that.
So Just a slight deviation. I want to ask a little bit about, because you've been doing a lot of communication in your life. It seems like that's been very consistent. That's helped you. You say you're not a wealthy speaker, but however, public speaking and communicating right now that's an art that can pay a massive amount, especially now. And so many people are afraid of that. What would you say, in terms of communication to someone, if they wanted to do perhaps one or two things to become a more confident communicator?
They want to be a more competent communicator?
Confident. You know, they want to be more confident and like believe in themselves. Yes.
I think that, first of all, you got to analyze what you love about communicating. Secondly, I think that you have to really look at what is your message. And then you have to, like anything, the more you practice it, the more polished and professional you become at it. I've always been in fields, in ministry, in law, in speech and debate clubs that required me to speak. And that's why, like in Toastmasters, my learning curve was so short. The first time I entered the World Championship, I'd only been a Toastmaster for like a year and a half, maybe like 18, 19 months. But I had been speaking all of my life. So if you want to get better, communication is powerful. Thoughts, ideas, words, they can change the world. People don't understand the power of words. Even I say to young women at my church, the conversation that you are having with your children while they're growing up, that becomes the message they will play back in their minds throughout the rest of their life. Both of my parents, mother and father, are deceased. But every day I hear someone say, "Get up, son. It's another day the Lord has given. You can do this. You're better than that. No, you're stronger than that. They ain't seen nothing yet." I can hear my father saying things like that. They don't know who they mess with. You ain't Shadrach and you ain't Meshach, but you a bad Negro. They best believe that. See, things that I said, man, I haven't heard that since years ago. But it's a tape that's playing. So now, if you didn't have that, if you were devoid of that, does that mean that you can't? No. Then you've got to erase some of those tapes that disempower you. And you've got to go listen to a Dwayne Jackson saying, "Get up and hustle." Come on, let me tell you how to do that. You got to start listening to those things that trigger that within you. See, everybody has triggers, things that make them. If I ask an average woman in my church, "Could you stand up in front of 500 people and give a speech?" They would say, "Oh, I get nothing." But if I took my gun, cocked it, and put it to their child's head and said, "If you don't give a speech good in front of these people, I'm going to kill your child." The motivation is different.
Yeah.
The desire is different. They look at things on a different level. So that's all you have to do to be that great speaker. What do you want to do? It's not about the money, but I'm going to tell you now, the most money I've ever made from a single speech was $10,500. Now, I thought that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money. But it was the most I had ever made. But I wasn't so like, ooh, this is so much money. My speech was 27 minutes. Now, as a lawyer, I worked for $250 an hour. So wait a minute. I mean, practicing law, I was making $250 an hour, and then these people paid me $10,500 just to do a 27-minute speech. Yeah. Then what is it? What is your value? See, a lot of people look at LeBron James, and Nike is paying him $30 million a year for life. And people say, that's because he's a basketball player. Oh, come on. There ain't a basketball player nowhere in the world that's worth $30 million a year for the rest of it. It is the value that LeBron James brings to Nike that gives the quid pro quo, the something for something, that enables him to make $30 million a year. So when you begin to understand I always knew how to speak, but when I got in Toastmasters and I started talking to other people in the National Speakers Association and other things, they started helping me understand the business of speaking. See, we're into sport. Oh boy, did you see LeBron sink that shot? That's the sport of basketball. I guarantee you, Nike likes the sport. But Nike says, what is the business of basketball? How can we take this guy and leverage that to build our business?
I want to just touch on that for a little bit for people that's kind of just watching. So, all right, I heard of that Nike deal with LeBron got at $30 million. I never really, until you're saying this now, I never really looked at that deal much because that's a lot of money. 30, that's a tremendous, $30 million. So the key is, because what the key when it comes to financials, right? Wealthy people, they don't have to work for money. Like you said the key right there when you said he gets paid that for life. So when he gets paid that for life, he positioned himself. He put himself in a position, and as a business person with his brand, made certain sacrifices so that now, even when he stops working, he's going to continue to have money coming in. I mean, that's real wealth. And I'm saying this, the reason why I want to point that out is because so many people, when I talk about shut up and hustle, a lot of people, they listen because they want to learn about money, and they make the mistake of just wanting to work to get a higher income. And that's all. When you're working, wealthy people don't work to get a higher income per se, because then you pay more taxes, right? They don't want to have to labor for all their money. Well, they position themselves so their money and their business can work for them, and that's why LeBron is LeBron, because he making those type of moves. That's totally different from the average NBA player.
And you know what? That $30 million a year, every 12 months, until he dies, is but one stream of his income.
Absolutely.
He's employed by the Los Angeles Lakers. They don't say, well, they're giving you 30. We're not going to pay you anything. He said, well, thank you very much. I'll take my services to someone who will. I don't know what his salary actually is for the Lakers, but come on, man. This guy, Michael Jordan, is a billionaire now. Michael Jordan has a bachelor's degree from the University of North Carolina. And I bet you if you looked at Michael Jordan's grades, if he graduated with a C+ average, I'd be surprised. Now, I'm not saying he's stupid by any means, but I'm simply saying the people who want a salary, they go to college and they graduate and they're magna cum laude, and then they work for other people.
Right.
And Bill Gates says, I employ people who are 10 times smarter than me, but I'm their boss. Now, you got to think about that. Why is that? There's a saying that says, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You're in the wrong room. You need to move to a room where Dwayne Jackson is at and read Get Up and Hustle, then say, how do I now apply this to my life? If you just learn one or two things, and guess what? You start adding those things and adding. So I bet you LeBron, like all wealthy people, has about 7 streams of income, from other commercial endorsements to he's got a school and he's got other things. So money is not at all what drives LeBron to get up and work.
Right.
That is not at all. No, he's doing what he enjoys and what he's good at. And so when the president says, well, I think he's dumb, well, Mr. President, you're the one who filed bankruptcy 6 times. I never heard where LeBron filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
1 time. So who's the real dummy here? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm the president. Sure you are. For now.
Yeah.
He's going to get $30 million for life. Now, Dwayne, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How much money do we pay the president of the United States of America annually?
About $400,000.
Okay. How come he's making $400,000? LeBron making $30 million, and he's the president, and LeBron is a basketball player. Don't you see something wrong with that? No, there's nothing wrong with it. When you understand value, when you understand how to optimize your potential skills and capabilities. No, it's not about the important. Sure, to be the president is far more challenging, far more taxing. It's far more quote unquote important than shooting a ball through a hoop. Well, then if that's the case, why would a company be so ignorant as to pay a player $30 million until the day he dies? But the United States combined does not pay its president even a third of that, a tenth of that. See, people don't think like that. They don't think. I just wrote a post on my Facebook page called "The Greatest Thing About Being Smart is Knowing What You're Dumb About." If you don't know what you're dumb about, you think that you're I'm the world champion of public speaking. Okay, Ed. Great. Now, where do you go from there? See, most people rest on their laurels of, I've accomplished that. So once they get a job and they get a house and a car, let them get a high six-figure income. Well, maybe they make $300,000. Wow. That's good. If that's what you like, that's what you love, that's what you're satisfied with, that's wonderful. But if you ask them, most people who make that kind of money live a lifestyle where in real income, they might have $15,000 a year that they can play around with. The rest of it is in the lifestyle they live. So I find that I had to learn a lot. There's a wheelchair quarterback. A wheelchair quarterback is the guy who never played the game, but he sits at home on TV and he says, he shouldn't have thrown that pass. He shouldn't have done this. I have been wheelchair quarterbacking for a long time. Now I'm getting back in the game. But the guy that's getting back in the game is much older, much more informed. And I now see, this is how the game is played. This is how it is done. And I'm learning. I'm every day. So if you're not a perpetual student, you're not a perpetual student. They say the most intelligent people are not people with extra brain cells. Mr. Trump says, I've got a big brain. I'm very intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave that one alone. But the point is, Einstein said, I'm no more intelligent than anybody else. But I always inquire and seek to learn things that other people take for granted. So he knew quantum physics because I studied intricately and I asked questions of people who are far more intelligent than me. Yeah, when you know what you are not, you know who you are, Ed. You got enough credentials to do whatever. But when you really come to a level where you recognize what you don't know, what can you learn from Dwayne? You helped train Dwayne. What can you learn from him? Do you think that you know everything Dwayne knows? No. Now, what if you knew everything you knew, Edward Hearn? You, and I do have a copy, Shut Up the Hustle. I have read it, and I consult with you. What if I add what you know to what I know? And then I add what someone else to you know what I know.
And also, I want to mention this too. Everybody, make sure y'all look out for Shut Up and Rebuild Yourself, the emotional toolkit to overcome any tragedy in your life. And that's co-written by myself and Mr. Hearns, my mentor. So, that we're finalizing that right now. So make sure y'all get a copy of that, we'll have those links and stuff that'll be ready. But I want to say this, let's conclude on this. What would you say 3 things, you don't have to elaborate, but when it comes to education, what are 3 things that you think, whether it be wisdom, whether it be technological, whatever, that people should start learning over the next 1 to 5 years that's going to be a necessity? Because we talked about being lifelong students, but what are 3 things? I mean, for me, I think about one, just the power of the people learning Spanish right now. Learning a second language is very important because the numbers are showing that the Hispanic population is taking over America very, very fast. White population is also dying off for various reasons. So learning something like Spanish is very, very important. Learning just how to adapt to any situation because the world is constantly changing. And 3, for me, it would say learning how to teach yourself, outside of school so you can be a lifelong student. But what would you say are at least 3 things that people should start learning?
I think the first I would say is understanding that your education is incomplete. Most of us, when we finish college, graduate school, law school, med school, we think, I'm done with my education. No. The first thing is you must every day be committed to learning something. Your education is incomplete. Number 2, the technology of today. Learning about social media, learning about computer systems and software, etc. Learning how to use and utilize those things for your own learning and education. Because you can get a college degree online. I mean, just it literally. But doing that. Number 3, I think learning the geography of the world. One thing that winning the World Championship of Public Speaking did, it took me to places. The farthest I've flown was to Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka is 27 hours on the airplane. You fly to Tokyo for a day and then take the rest of the flight. And when I got there, I saw people who looked just like me. I saw brown-skinned people. And I'm saying, not all of them, but a lot of them. And I'm saying, I can hear my father saying, there's Negroes over here, son, how they get way over here? And so I asked some of my white compatriots who were with me, I said, what are all these black people here? Where do they come from? And he said, I guess this tropical environment here. They're out in the Indian Ocean out there. I guess that. And I said, nah, come on, man. Come on. Now, let me pause there. My white brothers who told me that, they told me that in sincerity. But, Dwayne, you don't stand out in the sun and look like me. Now, you stand out in the sun till you're blue. You're not going to look like me. So I started asking some of the black people, why do you look like me? Is there something I don't know? And they said, these people, we come from Australia, Northern Australia. And our people are Aborigines from Australia who come from Western Africa. And I said, so you're part of the African diaspora? They said, yes, of course. Now, they said that like, of course we are. But nobody ever told me that. I was saying it like, wait a minute. Whereas I thought, and I'm not a racist, to use the common line of those who say they're not racist, some of my best friends are white. And it's true. But I'm saying, so the world does not predominantly look like whites. The world is full of colored people that look like me.
Right.
That's because I didn't know the world. So I think you should travel. A friend of mine is in Dubai, a female friend. She and her sister went to Dubai, and she was just talking about all the things she's learning about that region of the world. So I think a knowledge of the people of the world helps you to understand humanity. And the more we understand humanity, the more I think we can all be one. We are the world. And we can learn to understand that there are more things about us that make us alike than ever make us different. That's the beauty of humanity.
That is very powerful. All of that is very, very powerful. My goal primarily today with this episode, we're bringing you on, is I wanted to really introduce you. This is to the audience here, because this is, I think, the first video interview that we've done, but it won't be the last. We will definitely have, I will make sure that we have you on, so that way, not only can we, because we're platform partners, you know what I mean? We are truly platform partners. And, that's what it's about. It's about the consistency. And that's one thing that you taught me is, when you want to get better at something, you have to realize almost everything in life is a muscle. Speaking is a muscle. Confidence is a muscle. Creativity is a muscle. If you look at it like that, the more that you do it, you develop that, you'll get better regardless on where you are today. And so we want to do that with the show. We want to one, strengthen our muscles, but also for our viewers who are watching, we want to help them learn through repetition of having, this positive energy and motivation in their lives. So I definitely want to have you back soon.
Well, I hope so. And in the words of my physical therapist, Mr. Hearn, each day, one step at a time. That's what's going to get you to your goal. Don't try to go out there and run a 100-yard dash. One step at a time. And the longest journey begins with the first step. And once we take those steps consistently, well, we'll get to the promised land. I guarantee you we will.
So is there a social media page that you want for people to check out, to follow you, or anything in particular?
Well, right now I'm expanding my social media, and I've got Edward Hearn on Facebook is primarily where I'm writing posts every day, but I'm going to be expanding, doing some YouTube, and I'm going to start a blog within the next 14 days. So as we build between now and the end of the month, I hope to have all those apparatus in shape, along with my website, Ed Hearn International, which I'm building right now. So I don't have it completed yet, but give me about 2 weeks and we'll have that arsenal together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey guys, make sure y'all tune in because Ed is so very, very powerful. I mean, you want friends like this. You want somebody, because the saying is, I'm gonna ask you a question, Ed. What would happen if you were drinking a cup of coffee and your friend put some sugar in your coffee? What happens? What do you have?
Well, you certainly, like me, you're diabetic. You have a sugar spike.
Absolutely. You're going to have a sugar spike and you're going to have some sugary coffee. You're going to have some sweet coffee. But my question is, so what happens is if you have your best friend put some poison inside of your coffee?
Oh, that would no longer be my best friend.
And in my view, I think a lot of times life is about sugar and poison, and we have to protect our coffee. We have to protect and make sure that the people around us, are they adding something, that's going to empower us in our lives, make our lives better, sweeter, or they're going to, have a negative impact, and sometimes even if it's sugar, it could be poison. So, everybody, everybody isn't necessarily, some people are in life for a reason or a season, but, I want to definitely have you back here because I feel like you have a lot of value where, where overall we could be able to motivate people, add that, extra sweetness to people's days so they can be able to achieve their dreams, and that's what we do.
That's my desire. That's my desire. I think that when we all make it, if one of us makes it and the rest of us fail, then I think whoever has made it has failed. But when we can make it together, we can make it happen, together, I think it's mutually rewarding. And as the old song says in the church, then my living has not been in vain. That's what I look at.
Words by a great man. Today is a great day. I am your hustling homie, your platform partner, one and only Jackson, all about making things happen, addicted to action. And this is Shut Up and Hustle, where we show you how to take all of your goals, dreams, and actually create that blueprint to take action and do it consistently on a daily basis. Why? Because you're supposed to and you can do it. So with that being said, subscribe to the page. We look forward to seeing you in the future. Peace.